Hello and welcome to this class feedback for the Edexcel A-Level Geography essay. Assess the effectiveness of prediction and forecasting in the management of tectonic hazards. Now you will all be aware of the video lesson that we did prior to this on the planning of it. So I'm not going to spend too long on the planning aspects of it. But what we can see, remember, essay planning is a skill. The whole idea of this is me to give you as much support as possible, and I want you to stick to those plans that I give you initially. This just gives you the structure and the background, and then you can start to freestyle and put your own marks on your essay later. So remember, we asked you to look at how you break down the question. This is always very important. And if you're still struggling with that, keep going back over the previous videos just to give you support on how you can read and interpret the questions. And again, as I always say, look back at the specification. For this question, we can see we've got the element of prediction and forecasting here. We've got the management strategies here. And then we've got the factors which can influence the effectiveness of management as well as prediction and forecasting. So look at all the key terms that you can see in there. And it's important that you try and get at least some of those into your essay. And this is why you've got to know the specification inside and out, because you've got to be using that terminology within your answer. So these were the kind of ideas that we were looking at. So the difference between prediction and forecasting, what management can include, the different hazards, and the other unwritten factors. So what other things can influence on the management of the hazards. Again, just a quick idea of structure. In the exam itself, you can vary from this, but initially I did want to see this. I want to see the explicit judgment. Because it's important that you do stick to this structure first of all. So if you didn't stick to this structure, make sure you do next time. Otherwise, I'm going to start to get really annoyed with you. Again, the mark scheme, and hopefully on your individualized feedback, you'll see that I've been able to highlight and make comments on all of these as well. And this was the plan I gave you. And the whole idea of the plan was that you use this as part of your answer. Yeah, the whole point of this was to make it far easier for you. I even put in the different case studies you could use, but I wanted you to find the right information that would go with that to back up your answers. And again, back to the structure. I don't apologize for repeating this. You'll see in the essays at the end, the examiners don't necessarily always look for this structure, but it makes it so much easier. You don't know the quality of the examiner, so make it easy for the examiner to give you the marks. And by following this structure, the marks are easy to award if you've got the right information in there. So let's have a look. We've got 3 introductions here. What I'd like you to do is pause the video and then read through all of them, please. Okay, so pause the video, read through. All right, so we've got 3 different introductions. So this first one, if we look here, it talks about predicting hazard, allows people to build infrastructure and allows them to plan evacuation routes. So it is linking the idea that prediction can help with management. So it's kind of answering the question, but it doesn't cover many of the key terms. It's not highlighting assessment objective 1, which is knowledge, because it's only got a little bit of the knowledge there. Doesn't mention forecasting. It's not using the key terms of the question. So automatically the examiner is going to think, okay, they've got some idea, but have they got that deeper knowledge? We look at the second one in blue. This has got virtually everything you need. It really does tell you all of the key terms and defines all of them and begins to link them together. But what is missing, which is in this third one, is this first sentence. Prediction and forecasting play an important role in the management of tectonic hazards, as they allow communities to adapt and prepare for an event to occur. Now, this is perfect, because not only is it using all of the key terms, but it links it straight to the question. This one just kind of defines the terms, this one links it to the question itself. And then it goes on to say what those key terms mean and also introduces the unwritten factors. So this one is an absolutely perfect, short, concise, and includes all of the knowledge, the assessment objective 1, that the examiners are looking for. So this is the kind of thing that you're aiming for in your intro. Okay, so we've looked at the introduction. Let's start looking at the main body of the essay. Again, what I'd like you to do, I've got 2 different main paragraphs here. I'd like you to read through both of these and you pause the video. Okay, so pause now and read through. So, what did you think to both of these? Well, these both tell us about how things can be predicted and what can be done for the management of them. However, they are both really descriptive. Yes, they're explaining what can be done, but they're just saying what can be done. They are not addressing the question. They are not saying how effective are they. So while they're showing good knowledge and understanding, they've not really applied that knowledge to the question, which will severely limit you. This will allow you to get into the level 2s, but it won't allow you to get to the level 3s because all it's doing is really describing the factors and what can be done. If we look at this paragraph, have a look here. So again, pause through and read it. Now, how do you think this compares to the previous 2 paragraphs? Well, if you read it through, prediction and forecasting can be effective because it allows for mitigation. So it's saying it can be effective. It's made a judgment in there. It's saying how it can be used, linked to the defensive measures that are put in place, and also links increases capacity to cope. So it's looking at different elements of the spec. However, not always effective if the magnitude of the event overwhelms the capacity, and then we've got an example in there as well of evidence. So although this paragraph is a lot shorter, there's a lot less detail in it, but it is far more effective at answering the question. And this is important. It's about answering the question. It's not about writing everything you know about a topic. It's about applying it to the question itself. So this answer would actually allow it to start to get into level 3, even with the less writing and the less detail there. So you've got to change the way that you're thinking about what the examiner wants. It wants you to answer the question, not write everything that you know. Now, have a look at this one. I know it's a lot, but could you read through this? This is a brilliant paragraph. It has absolutely everything you need, but there's no way you could write this in an exam. This would probably take you 15 minutes on its own, but it is perfect. So have a read through it and then think about, okay, could you make notes on it and see how you could make it more concise? Well, here's my attempt at it. If you want to, rewind the video a little bit and compare the 2. And if you have a look, I've managed to take out quite a lot of the information. Now, this is still quite wordy. It's still very long. But you wouldn't be expected in the exam to do 3 paragraphs of this detail. You'd probably want 2 paragraphs of these detail and then 1 little bit more as well, just to highlight some of the factors. But you can see how we can really take down from that much to this much. Compare them, read them through. You know, do you think that this lacks anything? In my opinion, I think this includes everything else in the other paragraph, but far more concise. Now again, another brilliant paragraph. Now, this is where we can use reverse engineering. Have a read of this paragraph, pause it, and then try and turn it into 4 bullet points at the most. Yeah, what are the key things in this? And then from those 4 bullet points, can you rewrite this paragraph, but in a much shorter way? So have a go at that now. And then another chance for you to do this. Again, another brilliant paragraph, but again, far too long. But look, I'm expecting that. That's what I'm asking you to do in these early stages. Yeah, I want you to show me perfect paragraphs, and then I can give you the skills to be more concise and to minimize it so you can do them in the essay. But I need to see you've got the understanding and the application first. Essay skills is a step-by-step process. We can't rush these things. So again, read through it. Bullet points, 4 main bullet points, no more than that, and then have a go at rewriting it. So read it, pause it, have a go. So I've given you a couple of activities to do on here and this reverse engineering, and try it with your own work as well. Once you've written something, try and pick out the key points and rewrite it again. And this is a really useful skill in anything you do. You know, when I used to do big presentations, whether it was sales or business management, you know, I'd write out a whole script at first, and then I just continually rewrite it, but in shorter things. So eventually, instead of going with a big script, I could go with 2 or 3 cue cards with just a few bullet points on each one. Okay, so this is a really good skill, not just for geography, but for in life as well. And when you start to go for university or apprenticeship applications and you have to do presentations, this skill will help you develop that as well. Now, the next activities, I'm going to show you 2 essays, and these were actually presented in the exam and marked by examiners. And I would like you to read through them. Have a look at the mark scheme that you were given on yours and think about, okay, well, what level do we get for each of these? So pause it, read through the first one. And now here is another one. So read through this one. So you'll probably recognize you've seen parts of these before because I showed them earlier in this video. Now, what do you think each of these achieved if we compare the 2 of them? Well, if we have a look at the examiner's comments, we can see that one of them got a good level 2, scored 6 marks, and another one got a level 3. Now remember, if you're getting to level 2, that's just about explaining, describing what you know. To get to the level 3, you really need to be answering the question and putting that assessment in there. So, if you're not sure, this one achieved the level 2. Lots of information, lots of more writing, but as you can see, all this one really did was kind of describe how it was used. Whereas with this one, a lot less detail, but it's much simpler, and it actually answered the question. Look at the assessment terminology, can be very effective. However, on the other hand, this is highly effective. It's effective. So you can see that this is what the examiners are looking for. So again, have a look back over those essays and compare them to the feedback. Now, do remember that this question was on the AS paper, therefore the marks will be more generous, okay? I want you to over-prepare. I want you to train hard. This will mean that when you get into the exam, it becomes a lot easier. So yes, I am getting you to over-engineer your essays in the first instance, but this then means that I can help you to reduce that and make it easier for you. But I want to see the best essays first, and then we can make them more concise as it goes on. So again, feel free to look back over this video as many times as you want. Compare it to your own work. That's important. What elements have your work got? What elements does your work need? And then when I set the next essay, make sure you apply these factors and the feedback that I've given you into the next essay. Hope that's been useful. Thanks again for watching. See you soon. Bye.